Let's go to Minnesota now. And Minnesota is a team that could play spoiler at some point this season, but they also could maybe be a little bit of a dud. And for Minnesota, it's interesting because they've had back-to-back 9-win campaigns. In fact, PJ Fleck is only the second coach in Minnesota's history to ever do that. They went 9-4 last year, 5-4 in conference play. The big blight on their record was a 3-game losing streak. They lost to Purdue, to Illinois, and to Penn State. But they did beat Wisconsin, which was a good way to end the year. A very emotional game, especially for Jim Leonard, the then interim head coach for Wisconsin. Athan Kaliakmanis, he takes over at Minnesota, and I dare you guys to say that 5 times fast. He's the new quarterback for Minnesota. Again, was Tanner Morgan's freshman year, pre-2008, post-housing bubble crashing. You be the judge. He was there for forever. Chris Ottman-Bell is cashing Social Security checks. It's his 7th season in the program, and I swear he got there in 2013. I feel like I've heard his name for forever. So you lose some veteran pieces, you get some other pieces back. The question will be, what does the running game give you as you replace Mo Ibrahim? It's right now setting up to be a running back by committee situation, and the passing game was not productive last year. Kirk Shiraka in his 1 year in Minneapolis was a resounding failure. So how does the passing game kind of elevate? Greg Harbaugh Jr. is elevated from the tight ends coach. What do you do with the running game? Is there some sort of reset there on the balance of the offense? Defensively, guys, did you know Minnesota was a top 10 defensive unit last year? Because I had forgotten that, but they were really, really good. You've got Danny Strigo coming back, 3.5 sacks. He was the only Gopher who had more than 2 sacks last year. So they're going to need to get some more pass rush production. Chris Collins comes over from UNC. I think he'll be a good tandem there with Danny. Cody Lindenbaugh, who is a star of a very productive linebacker unit, is back, but he's going to have 2 new partners playing on the outside next to him. So how do they gel? How do they stop the run this year? Again, we keep beating that drum. The Big Ten is a conference of running backs this year. If you can't stop the run, it's going to be, well, not a long day at the office. It may be a little bit of a shorter day at the office, but you're going to give up a lot of points. There's their cornerback unit. Their secondary is also very, very young. Another unit I'm not super impressed with. Ceiling is, I think, at 8-4. I don't see a path to 9 wins for the 3rd straight year without that bell cow, but I think you could make a case for 8-4. I think 5-7 is kind of their floor. If you lose a stunner to Nebraska, for instance, I think that's, sets you off on the wrong foot. Personally, I'm going to go 7-5 for the Gophers. It's not the year that I think PJ Fleck and his folks want up there as they row the boat, but it's a move the chains forward year, right? You keep yourself relevant. You continue to have winning records. You go win a bowl game. You go 8-5. That's the vision that I think you're selling at Minnesota, 8, 9, and maybe a threaten for 10 wins.
Man, it really pains me to say, as the captain of the boat rowing crew last year.
You were.
Man, I was so high on Minnesota, and I look, Kirk Shiraka let me down, and I think this is a rebuilding year for Minnesota, and that really pains me to say. I have them just missing a bowl game. If things bounce the right way, I think they could definitely get there. But, man, Mo Ibrahim was their offense last year, especially after Tanner Morgan went down. You look at all the turnover that they're going to have there. Mo Ibrahim, I remember, I think it was the Iowa game last year, one of those really close ones down the stretch. Mo Ibrahim was literally just willing them down the field to the tune of 250 yards or something like that. And the rest of the team probably had 50 combined. So I think that's a big, big hole to fill on the roster. I think the defense is going to be just fine. You look at this, it's a recurring theme. There's a lot of really elite defenses on paper. How much of that is actual talent on the field and scheme versus the poor offenses that they're playing 7 games a year, 6 or 7 games a year in the Big Ten West. But Minnesota had a legit good defense last year, and I don't think that that's going to fall too far off. But offensively, I just really struggle. They could be shades of 2022 Iowa this year on offense, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think getting started with Nebraska is a big win. You need to win that game. North Carolina, going to North Carolina will be a big road game. Yeah, that's
Louisiana
very
at home
tricky.
is a tricky non-conference game as
True.
well. If you're not ready
True.
for that one, they can come up and get you.
Gracious, how about that?